And every day there is the changes in the changes abundance of natural resource. So identify the natural resources, what kind of population demand is in. So the resource identification resources. The second, you can have a proper optimization of wastage and we appropriately plan according to time management. Third one is for identifying the impact of extraction, exploitation, natural. So indicates a lot of pandemic is a lot disasters has raised, and that has led to various kinds of diseases in India. So it's very important to see what are the impacts of minings on environmental health. Then as a planner, because whenever you're going for planning, any administrator requires a decision support system. So the remote sensing and GIS is a geographical information system provides a administrator a decision support system where he can plan his actions, he can plan what is the time frame that is expected to be completed for a given task, and parallelly they can plan for the various kinds of management that has to be practiced in that area, and also for strategic planning and management of natural resources and environment, because you see that if you see the geographical area of India, we have got a large geographical area covered with ocean, the Himalayas, deserts, plains, deltas. So you can see there is a lot of geographic diversity. There is lot of various kinds of land use, land cover materials that are existing. There are various kinds of geomorphological edges that we are acting upon, and for that you need decision support. You need a spatio-temporal data. You need a real data. You need a simulation-based models that can project, that can suggest what can happen in near future. Because as we are already celebrating our 75th year of Indian independence, also known as Azadi Ka Amrit Utsav, and as stated by Honorable Prime Minister, that for coming 25 years, to be completed as 100 years of independence, that will be considered as Amrit Kal. So when you're saying is Amrit Kal, so how that Amrit Kal will be obtained, how the goals can be achieved, that can be only using sustainable management of resources, and that can only be done using the help of geospatial information. So I have already stated what are the uh, advantage of geospatial information over the other technology existing in market. I'll be discussing starting from watershed analysis. You see that each and every country or state is facing a problem of wetlands. They are facing the problems of waterlogging, urban flooding, rural flooding, flash flooding. So all such kinds of disasters, all such kinds of various mishap is happening because we are not giving thrust to the watershed management. We are not giving the watershed prioritization. We are not giving the emphasis to mapping of first order, second order, third order streams that are very important, because until unless you are not calculating the water budget, you're not calculating the water quantity, you're not calculating the total volume, if you're not calculating the runoff, the entire thing, the entire planning, whatever you say, whether that is a smart city or a smart village, your all plannings will be destroyed. So that's why watershed analysis is very important. Also for conservation of water resource, for increasing the irrigation, for increasing the crop management, it's very important to identify each minute drainage, because we have to quantify, we have to calculate each and every drop of water, and that can be only with the help of various technologies that are uh, capable of storing such data sets. And remote sensing and GIS has the speciality of capturing all this primary data and secondary data for resource inventory, whether you want to see that what are the various kinds of changes in the forest resource, what is the kinds of changes in the water resource, what are the various changes in the land resource, whether you are going for urban planning or smart city development, or whether you are going for various kinds of network analysis. Many times as a youngsters, I was very enthusiastic to see how when I book Ola or Uber cab, a distance is calculated with the time. So that is all with the help of neural network analysis that we AIS. We also go for various kinds of incident based mapping, that we can go and identify the various roads, blocks, regions where the number of cases, whether it is in terms of robbery, whether it is in terms of various kinds of malpractices that are recurrent in the society, we can identify those zones. Also, we can spatially measure the distance between the various earth objects. Also, you have seen, especially in Rajasthan, that always you will be finding that there is a leopard and tiger conflict going in around. So why this corridor mapping has to be done? Because as our population is increasing, our demand is increased. So what we are doing is we are encroaching the land of wildlife, the wild animal. What they will do, if you are encroaching them, anybody coming to your house, your land, you will try to fight. The same thing they'll do. So in order to reduce this fight among the humans and the wildlife, you have to go for corridor selection, where the various parameters related to the forest type, landscape analysis, water availability, all such analysis are being done for the reduction of animal and conflict. Also, we are going for various kinds of transpose modeling, because you can see that you see the demand of vegetable is increasing. So we have to have a proper economical value of vegetation in around in the country. So what we have to do, because that there is a limited time, if you are not, for example, there is a some specific vegetable grown in, or some vegetable that is grown in Bihar, and that has to be transported to Rajasthan, that is 1500 kilometers or 2000 kilometers. So what are the shortest network routes through which will be routing it, so that the vegetable doesn't get rooted up totally, and that is supplied to the market within the given spread of time. So such kinds of analysis, logistic analysis, resource explorations, like if you want to have a study where you want to see what are the damages that has been done due to mining in and around Rajasthan or Jaipur, where we are going for various kinds of acquisition of mining related to excavations, like stone excavation. So all kind of such kind of studies what the multi-temporal damages that we have done to the geo resources, geo heritage sites, geo heritage structures can be easily identified, and we can also go for facility mapping, geoprocessing of the model data sets, then various kinds of spreads and diffusions modeling, like recently you have seen during corona time, there was the concept of donations given to us, that is green zone, red zone, orange zone. So that was on the basis of spatial measurement between a positive person to where you're stationed. So person who was corona positive, or where the number of cases were very high, were considered as hotspots, and from hotspots your distance to nearest hospital or isolation zones and such kind of centers, studies were all calculated with the help of GIS technology, where it you can easily go for various kinds of terrain analysis. Like many times you will be seeing the surveyor in the field. I see oftenly that they take instruments and they go for leveling or go for terrain analysis. But when it comes to remote sensing and yes, we are having the capacity of aerial photography, UAVs, unmanned air vehicles. We are having drone data that are having a very high spatial resolution data sets that are available to us, and that provides you a very high digital elevation models, and through which you can create a very high topographical variations data sets, where you can go for various kinds of terrain modeling that are very important for especially the construction of bridges, dams in highland area sets. Also we can go for analysis, because you will see that a census data is always a regular process that has to be done in any country for the development and utilization of resources. So you will see a person coming up and he'll be having a questionnaire, and with a geographical coordinate, that person will, a person who do visit your house has a GPS. So using that global positioning system technology, the person who comes to your house store the coordinates on all the data sets. What he has recorded will be converted into a geospatial platform, and finally we can go for a geospatial map, where we can what are the changes in the area that has to be done, like in any district, what are the changes that has happened towards the agriculture productivity, towards the increase of income, towards the increase of incomes of various kinds of societies, communities. So such kind of demographic analysis can be done, and using those demographic analysis, we can identify the weaker section of the society, or the weaker, the unplanned societies, where we can go and have for a more strategic and management planning. And finally, we can go for various kinds of site suitability related to terrain and construction of dams, tunnels. So you can see that it has got an enormous capacity, where I'll say it's more a tool with the application of engineering and sciences. So thus, what is the use of geospatial sciences? So you can see on the right hand side of my screen, there is a satellite image showing the various land use, land cover features. For a layman, generally they will be seeing some blue color, green color, white, green, blue, cyan color, gray. But as a remote sensing analyst, as a remote sensing experts, we teach the students the basics of various keys of interpretation, whether that is visual interpretation or digital interpretation. And using those keys, we can identify the various land use, land cover activities. For me, if I ask anyone, what are the features that you can identify after seeing it, without going into the terrain, I can easily calculate what is the area of water body, what is the area of rivers, what is the glaciated area, how much is forested area, what are the different kinds of agriculture practices that are used. So the biggest advantage of remote sensing and GIS is that without going into the field, you can obtain information without coming into physical contact with the object. And GIS provides you a geographical coordinates of that area where we can go for various kinds of thematic data creation, overlay of data, whether that is a primary data or a secondary data. And finally, we can go for ground field data collection, and we'll be using the GPS technology. But in coming days, we'll be substituting our own technology. We have got the ISRO has developed it, Galileo. Then we have got IRNSS, that is Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. So in coming days, we'll be using our own satellite navigation system rather than the American, because many times they purposely do alter the positioning of the data, and finally that leads to the accuracy of the data. So in case whenever you have got a war with your neighbor states or wherever you are going for navigation, a slightest of error on a map, like 1 centimeter on your map, can result a deviation of 2 kilometers on the ground, for example. So that can create a huge havoc in that area. So that's why geospatial is very important component for natural resource management as a tool, where we can be using all these three data sets together for the conservation and management of the natural resources. So you can see easily by using this satellite how a large area can be viewed with a synoptic overview, where each and every details about that area can be easily noticed, can be easily visualized, can be easily mapped, can be easily monitored, can be easily visualized. So you have already have discussed. Now we'll be studying the functions of geospatial technology. What are the various kinds of functions? So the geospatial technologies provides us various kinds of data sets, whether I've already stated whether that is a geospatial data or any other data. We can convert any secondary data into primary data. I can convert, or we can convert, anybody can do such kind of analysis, whether you will be always seeing such kind of reports regularly published in newspapers, also easily to understand that previously what are the area that for example, if there is a election coming up in your state or block, you'll be seeing that the newspaper is coming up that in last 2014 what are the constituency and the blocks that were under the BJP, Congress, others. So such kind of maps are prepared using. You'll also see whenever our honorable minister, defense minister or chief minister or any respectful minister goes to military areas in Kashmir and in around, there will be a portion brigadier or our military officer colonels will be narrating him with a map showing what are the strategic location where we are and what are the places of importance where the other states fellows are living up. So such kind of data sets, such kinds of information, such kinds of resource, because at end of the day we have got our borders with threat. So we want to see what are the practices what they are doing along our boundaries, and they also want to see. So the only things through which we can see what are those countries doing is remote sensing and GS or UAV data or aerial photography. That is the only mean where we can especially identify the accurate information, timely information, and with a limited period of time if you want to have a revisit, because we have got a satellite with that has got different temporal resolution ranging from 2 days to 10 days. So every 2 days you can, if you want the data of the same terrain, you can have it, and you can have various kinds of multi-temporal change detection data sets, or change detection analysis can be easily done. I have already said that whenever we are saying about geoinformatics, I am talking about remote sensing, I'm talking about GIS, I'm talking about geomatics, I'm talking about geoinformatics, I'm talking about photogrammetry, I'm talking about surveying, I'm talking about GPS technology, because many times the persons are uh, get confused with such terms. So more easy to understand, I'll say geo information or geoinformatics is the umbrella, the bigger umbrella, and the spokes connected to those umbrella are the terms that I have told you right now. So if you go more into the detail of the functions of GPS technology, you will be finding that we have got 24 satellites in total, with 6 orbital units with 4 satellites in each orbit, so that at any given point of time you have got 4 satellites to identify or determine to your receiver the location, direction, speed with altitude, and such kind of informations are readily used in surveying, for engineering, mapping, for navigations. So today you cannot survive a single moment without the use of geoinformation technology, because in previous past there was a saying that you must learn computers. I'll give a statement that in near future, if you want to survive, you have to learn geoinformation, because you're living in an era where the technology related to GIS is already, you're staying it, you're using it, you're manufacturing it, but you are not knowing it. This is called GIS. So I've already stated that GIS has got an enormous scope in any of the departments, whether you talk about land area coverage, where you want to see the various types of soil covers of India, soil types of India, their taxonomy, their characteristics, their specific composition, the various kinds of terrain allography, hydrography, structural, rainfall modeling, runoff modeling, of whatever comes to your mind as a GIS expert, as a remote. But today I am very fortunate enough that we are a user, because in India you have got limited number of users who can really call them as experts and interpret a satellite data and then go for various kinds of models, and we are few personals in India having those art skills to have identify all these resources in handling all these instruments, doing the various kinds of modeling. So we can go for aquifer mapping, the groundwater modeling, and finally the remote sensing data. So whenever ISRO is our mother unit, you have already know we are the best in the space, and ISRO regularly is upgrading its technology in terms of high spatial resolution data sets, whether that is a optical resolution data sets or whether you talk of microwave data sets, also hyperspectral data sets. We have also not far behind in terms of meteorological data sets, where we are continuously getting the data related to rainfall, related to temperature, evapotranspiration, and the entire globe is covered, is being sensed, is being detected, is being mapped by ISRO. So all the data sets that we as a researcher require for various kinds of research modeling, for various kinds of earth data modelings are provided by Indian Space Research Organization. So I'm broadly relations in forest, water, and mining. Of course, I've taken three, but you can also take as urban. You can also take as health. You can what comes to your mind? I've already stated whether using this technology you can go for forest type mapping, species deletion, where you want to have more kind of organic species or some kind of new species that are undiscovered, unlocated, or you want to see the various kind of timber and yield estimation. So FRI, Forest Resource of India, FSI Survey of India, are readily using this remote sensing and GIS technology. And today, all the IFS officer joining in foreign service, they are being given trained remote sensing. Yes, because all the forest resources that you're seeing are mostly inaccessible. Like maybe you can go in Rajasthan, maybe you cannot go northeastern flood hazard modeling for various kinds of watershed analysis, water. So all kind of such studies related to the geomorphological, geological, hydrogeomorphological, seeing the water level trend analysis, identifying of various kinds of rock formation structures mapping. So you can see a lot of data, whether that is in terms of land degradation, air pollution, water pollution, the impacts, the damages like pre and post damage. We can easily identify how many buildings have been destroyed, what are the damages that has been done to the road, railways. So each and every minute information will be noticed, and then we do it at a minute level. And with that, I'll be showing you few of the case studies that how this geospatial technology is being used readily by various agency. So right now I'll be saying like if I'm a crop insurer, that you'll be seeing that that in Council of Agriculture, uh, the government of India has said for any kind of damage assessment, the remote sensing and GIS technology will be used for crop mapping and their compensation distribution. So you can see a satellite image before a disaster, means July 1. There was no heavy rainfall in the upland areas. That's why the river was very silent. But after 10 days of a heavy rainfall in the upland area, that created a high amount of runoff that was generated, and you can see a large area under flood inundations. You can see that a lot of damages that has been done to that area. So generally what happens in India, maybe I am flood affected victim, but maybe my neighbor is not a flood affected victim, but he will also demand compensation with the government of India. They will be demanding compensation with the insurer. So how would the insurer know that whether his land was submerged in land, or how many days of a land was submerged in water? So such kind of studies can easily be done using the geospatial technology, where the exact positioning we have got for that area, and we can see the amount of damages that has happened to that area, whether it is terms of household damage, whether it is terms of crop damage, whether it is in terms of utilities damage, whether it is in terms of infrastructural damage. So all such data sets can be usually done using the remote sensing as uh, analysis. So I have already said that government of India, the FRI, is readily using this remote sensing and GIS technology for creation of various kinds of forest cover and type mapping. So using, you can see that you'll see that on the left hand side, the entire forest resource of India has been mapped using the remote sensing and GIS technology, where you can see that how in detail, how minutely, how spatially the various forest types are distributed, whether you can see the evergreen forest, deciduous forest, and various kinds of coniferous forest. So all such kinds of distribution can be done, where we can go for minute level mapping of various species level forest. Also you can see the damages that the urban settlement is gradually doing because the increase in population, we are generally including the forest area. A satellite image where we have seen that over the period of time, you can hear the red color is indicated of the settlement. So when you compare, for example, if I have taken a 1960, 2000 and 2024, so you can see the amount of damage that we have done in terms of forest is very enormous, not only for building it for houses, but also we have destroyed the forest for cultivation. Also, we have destroyed the forest for grazing. So, such kind of check, such kind of practices can be only monitored, mapped using the remote sensing and GIS technology. Also, you can see the amount of damage that the mining activity, because we are in a demand of resources, whether we are talking about coal resource or whether we are talking about iron resource, talking about any other resources or ore, we are going for exploration. So when you are going for exploration, the biggest demerit is we are doing damages to the environment. Also, you have to identify new resources or the undiscovered resources because our population is. So that's why the concept of SDGs came into existence, and using this technology, you can identify about any area, terrain, whether they are following any company who has been given the tender to mine is following the rules and the guidelines given by government of India or the state government of India, and we can regularly monitor the changes that they are doing into the environment, and whether they are following the guidelines. We can go for environmental impact assessment study, we can go for detail before starting off any project, during a project, and disaster, or post completion of project. So such kind of multi-temporal, multi-spatial related to any area, any specific area can be easily done, where you can identify here the colors are indicative of the various land use, land cover features, whether you're talking about scrub, whether you're talking about forest, whether you're talking about water body, whether you're talking about mining area. So all such features, whether you have increased the water bodies or the rivers, or whether you have degraded the quality, the mining waste are thrown into the water bodies or the rivers. So such kind of studies can be easily mapped, modeled using the yes. Also, I've already stated that this subject has got enormous importance in terms of strategic planning, where you can go for various kinds of terrain analysis, creation of hill slope, hillshade, contours, a relief map, and that is very important for strategic purposes, because we have got terrain closer to China, we have got terrain closer to Pakistan. So we want to regularly monitor the changes that they are doing, whether they are coming up bunkers or whether they are coming up new kind of some dangerous constructions that are of danger to our military or civilian purpose. So all such data sets, information, or the changes that they are doing along the borders can be easily mapped and models using this digital elevation models. You are getting using the various subtle radar topographic master DM. Then you have got AutoSet DM that is available with a very high space resolution, and we can go for terrain analysis. Also, we can go for various kinds of change analysis, whether it is in terms of load, or whether you want the change in the glaciated area, what are the snot locations, accumulation zone, ablation, the changes that has happened because of the increase of population or the increase of use of industrialization. So we are using a lot of industrial products, pollution. So what are the damages that has done to the glaciated peaks or the increase of globe, glacial lake outburst flood, locations area. So you can see here that over the period of time, if you want to see the changes that has happened to a glacier given go through India. So from 1780 to 2008, you can see the amount of the area is decreased. That is an alarming condition because this is a Himalayan freight rivers. If the accumulation is decreasing, volume is decreasing, means uh, maybe many fellow does it matters to us, let it decrease. But what it will increase, it will change gradually the entire water ecosystem, and gradually that feature what you are saying affect you directly and directly affect because it entire water issue in the low-lying area, and gradually the area that is irrigated fertile will gradually going infertile and water because of finally of resource, because all are interconnected. You cannot keep your system river system away from your glaciers. You cannot keep your glaciers away from rocks. You cannot keep rock formation away from sea spreading. So all are interconnected, and you have to see differently whenever you are going for conservation monitoring and modeling of any natural resources throughout the globe. Also, you can go for various kinds of forest fire identification, risk modeling. Also, fire information systems can be models. You can create your own websites. You can create models. Right now we have used models far side, and we have used this for creation of identification of risk zone, which are the blocks, which are the zones with the highest risk, and what will be the scenario if the same wind speeds persist, if the same temperature persists. So what will be the changes? So we can predict what are the trends that is going to happen in. So in case we have given this forest fire information prior to any incident, the forest fire or the local manager or the administrators can relocate portions, relocate areas, because generally you cannot reduce or cannot stop any natural disaster to happen, but you can reduce the impact that can be done or the damage that it will do to the society, and that can be only done using the use of technology, the use of instrumentation and GIS. With the help of GPS and remote sensing technology helps in providing a great management of natural resources, also forest resources. Also, you will be seeing that nowadays each and every person, each and every country, whenever you show a picture of any foreign countries, especially European countries, UK, US, you'll see a well settled area with smart roads, smart buildings, swimming pools, well located housings, built space, that at this point of time at this area there will be a residential area, and this there will be semi-residential marketplaces, parking, all such kind of planning. If today we are talking about smart city planning, that has to be done with smartness, that has to be done with the help of geo smartness, where you have to identify where will be the residential area, how much will be the vegetated area, which kind of roads, where we will have four a lane road, two lane, what are the residential area, where will be semi-residence. So all such mining informations about the terrain, existing terrain, and what can be in the future can be done. The master planning for the future can be done or is being done in the entire India with the help of remote sensing as technology. I've got a limited period of time, so I'll be not taking a much lengthy month lengthy lecture. And finally, to the land information system created for cadastral mapping using a high resolution satellite data. Previously, you have to go to the local land records and patwaris, and generally they used to corruption is all around. So maybe you're not getting that kind of information free of cost, or it used to take a lot of time. But today, anybody with his or her khasra number, plot number, can easily search into the system generated by each and every states. Today we are city Rajasthan. Rajasthan too has got a tremendous, outstanding cadastral information system where each and every block, map, roads, taluks have been mapped with a very high resolution, and you can get within a click each and who was whose land, or how many number of persons are there in his land, who sold it. So all such directly is being maintained, and its accuracy is also very high. It's not only creation of data with limited accuracy, but the kind of information that is stored, that are mapped, that are created in GIS are nearly 90 to 95, or maybe many times it's 99% accurate. 1% I'll say, because always there is a there can be error related to machine, manual, or you can see data for link that are created using WebGIS, other models. GIS is new information is beyond the desktop nowadays. Previously, it was we are using uh, like if I'm doing, it is on the web. Anybody can use it, download it, anybody can moderate it. We have got more use of open source softwares like QGIS, Quantum GIS, Saga GIS, ArcGIS, GIS also we are having. So this provides you a spatial analyst. Anybody can go into the field, do all such kind of exercise, and can be monitored, can be recorded into your system, and can be related part of the. Then when it comes to positioning, you can go for any kind of positioning, whether you're going talking about navigation, surveying, or indoor, outdoor exploration, LIDAR, UAV, drone, lasers, I've already stated. So you can see that how beautifully the earth can be mapped, modeled, whether you're talking about agriculture, forestry, water resource, glaciology, the various kinds of atmospheric damages that we are doing, creation of a massive global land use land cover map, where each and every parcel of land and classified into various category, disaster management, whether that is cyclone, floods, drought, landslides, flood, avalanches. So all such data sets can be easily monitored. And finally, biodiversity conservation, that we are doing it, whether it is in term of resources mapping. And the courses that we are offering at GAN, we are by Center for Climate Change and Water Research. We are offering BSc Geology honors, where the students coming +2 with a PCM with 50% marks will be admitted into course. This is your course into semester. Then we have got MSc Geoinformatics course that comprises 50%. Anybody with any BSc, anybody plain B for pursuing MSc Geoinformatics is geography. A person who else a BA degree must go for MSc Geoinformatics, because this is a futuristic technology. Today, if we are talking about geography, geography cannot survive without remote sensing, and so we want to have an add-on weapon because our population is very high. We want to have various kinds of knowledge, where kinds of expertise, because our honorable prime minister has given in fishes that each and every portion must be skilled up. So for skilling yourself in the field of geography, every portion must have at least master's degree, because geo information is the ocean. So 2 years or 4 years or 10 years, I myself have been studying and this subject for last 15 to 20 years, but still I don't know anything. So 2 years is a lot short duration of time, but still that provides you a job. Then for MTech Geoinformatics, 50% in BTech and BTech, whether mechanical, civil, electronics, electricals, any subjects can join us. Cultural engineering, tech, and MSc, any MSc without scaling up, good amount of package, but post completion of your MTech degree after 2 years, you will very handsome package. Finally, PhD, any persons with a 55% or OCD. So its courses are most important thing is what a good about good instrument, good good workstation, 27 Wi-Fi, well equipped AC rooms. Then we have got geoinformation labs. We are having the high processing software, ranging from proprietary software to open source softwares, ArcGIS, ADAS, NV2GS, GRASS, Snap, Pulsar Pro, Elvis, Saga. Then we have got a huge data library that we have created over the period of time. I have already stated about 15 years of experience for the National Central Funded Institute. They are having a very high impact factor journal publication. They have authored good number of books. They are very good identified researchers here working in the field of remote sensing and GIS. So we have got all these data sets, whether we are talking about LIS3, Landsat, eWIBS, Sanital data, Hyperion data. We have got also topographical sheets that we have procured from Survey of India. Then we are also having a surveying lab that is having various kinds of instrumentation that are very important for field data measurement, capture of the field information. We have got a well equipped library where the university and the center both has a good amount of books, either that is a hard copy or a soft copy. The same is for the journal. We have got a good resource, whether you are talking about the journals that are published in Springer, Taylor Francis, Science Direct, Wiley, Blackwell Synergy, and the various implement various websites that are continuously providing a huge amount of database. Okay, if you talk about e-resources, if you talk about knowledge, learning, uh, you've got a huge amount of data sets that are nobody can say today in this world of digital era where are, are uploaded in YouTube materials that you're short of materials. Cannot say you have got huge resources, and UGC University Grant Commission must be acknowledged for all the infrastructural, all the trainings that they have given to us as a teacher, as a student, as a database that they have given to the young researchers of India. And through that, we are fighting with the topmost institutes and universities like Cambridge, Oxford. We are also publishing in the same journals, the same high impact journals where we are also publishing. That gives us. And finally, our university, who always promotes research facility, the research minds, the students are always encouraged to do internship, paid internship, where they have been getting stipends for doing those. Uh, Generally have or university is having tie up with